I'll be speaking with Ahmad Khansour. He's a civil activist in Eastern Ghouta, and you know this area is being under bombardment by Assad and Russian forces. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Stanley. How are you?
It's very good to see you. So let's ask some simple questions. What is Eastern Ghouta? Is it a city or a province or an area?
Exactly. Thank you for the question, Stanley. I noticed that many don't know what is Eastern Ghouta. Eastern Ghouta is a group of small cities and towns surrounding Damascus, which is the capital of Syria. They call all the cities around Damascus Ghouta. From the east side, it is Eastern Ghouta, and now they are controlled by the rebels who protested against the Syrian regime in 2011, and they're still fighting for their freedom.
And how big an area is Eastern Ghouta?
Right now, Eastern Ghouta is consisted of about 15 cities and towns. It covers an area of about 125 square meters almost.
So is Duma part of East Ghouta, where the terrible attack, the sarin gas attack occurred 5 years ago?
Yeah, Duma is the biggest city in Eastern Ghouta, and it is the place where the terrible gas attack happened in Syria in 2013. Speaking of which, there are more than 195 gas attacks against civilians in Syria.
It froze up. I heard you say 195 gas attacks. So I understand the area used to have a population of 2 million. How many are still in Eastern Ghouta?
Right now, roughly 400,000 people are stuck in Eastern Ghouta.
And it's been under siege by Assad forces for how long?
For 6 years almost.
So
since the end of 2012.
So how do people survive? There's a lot of farming, or what are people, gardens? What are people doing? How do they eat?
Well, it has been a nightmare. You know, Eastern Ghouta used to be a bigger area than, I told you, 125 square kilometers. It used to be maybe triple or quartuple that area. In the past, we depended on agriculture partly. But in general, you know, the regime surrounding us from all the sides and controlling everything, mainly including the fuel income into Eastern Ghouta and the pesticides, herbicides, and everything that needed for agriculture. So we could not build a sustainable system of agriculture and economy cycle, as we call it. But however,
just froze when you said however.
Sorry. However, the regime did not save any chance to starve Eastern Ghouta and apply the policy of starvation against its civilians.
But people are growing some food and they have some livestock.
Yeah, well, in the past they managed to grow some food, but now it's kind of impossible. You know, 1 liter of diesel is about maybe $10 in Eastern Ghouta. So it is insane, and it is, even if it is very expensive, it's not available. And you can think of other things. If fuel is not available, you cannot grow anything in such a dry environment like we have in Eastern Ghouta, in Syria in general.
What about water?
We have water coming from wells. We dig wells and take water out. However, because Eastern Ghouta is very near to Damascus, the water is polluted and it's not drinkable. So, the last 6 years, we had to drink polluted water to survive. However, children in here suffer of diseases, of malnutrition, many diseases that related to water pollution.
What about medical facilities? I understand the bombers destroyed or damaged many of them.
Yeah, unfortunately, the regime systematically target medical facilities, educational facilities, and all the infrastructure. Medical facilities are moved into primitive operation rooms, primitive clinics that try their best to serve people in here. They are overloaded, they are overwhelmed, they do huge work in such horrible conditions.
And are the white helmets in Eastern Ghouta?
Yes, yeah, they are heroes. There are a few heroes in the white helmets, the medical center staff. They are true heroes. The Red Crescent in here, they are true heroes doing everyday work. Where everybody, when the shelling is destroying everything, when the regime maybe have 18 or 20 warplanes in the sky, targeting everything that is moving on the ground, white helmets, medical staff, Red Crescent, they are doing their best to save humanity. They are doing their best to serve the human being. And that's what we all should be doing.
Now I want to ask about the UN. I understand that the UN aid deliveries are quite rare. And one got in, but the Assad forces took away part of it.
Just this afternoon, a convoy of 46 trucks got into Eastern Ghouta. The regime delayed the convoy from getting inside, and right before they got in, the Russian warplanes, the regime warplanes, tried to do as many airstrikes as possible in order to prevent such convoy to get in. This convoy has been delayed for many times. It is less than expected. It covers only 7% of the population in Eastern Ghouta. Let me repeat the number again. This convoy covers only 7% of the people in need in Eastern Ghouta. It's a shame on the UN. It's very late. It's very unfair. After all of this time of waiting, then we have food for 7% of the population.
Now, what about airdrops? Now, have there been any airdrops of supplies to Eastern Ghouta?
No, it has never happened in here. Speaking of which, thank you for bringing this topic up. Why there is no airdrops in here? It happened in Terzor. It happened in many places around the world. We have civilians that are dying of starvation in here. We have civilians that are dying of lack of medical disposals, of medical needs, of medicines. So why airdrops is not taking any place? Eastern Ghouta is very near to the Lebanese borders, to the Jordanian borders. I have seen many studies about airdrops from drones. It can be very feasible, and we can do it. However, if there is a will of airdrops, there is a way. And I wish somebody would consider doing an airdrops in here. It will make a huge difference.
Now, a while back, I think a year ago, I spoke to a UN official and I asked why the airdrops were only going to Deir ez-Zor. And he claimed to me that every place else there was no big open area for a safe airdrop. Now, you say Eastern Ghouta is 175 square kilometers. Is there a football field area or a farm area where there could be airdrops?
Of course, my friend, it's 125,000 square meters. You can pick any kilometers that you like and do airdrops. If there is a way, there is a will.
If there's a will, there's a way. Okay.
Yeah.
Next question. I have to bring this up, but we get messages from Assad and Russian supporters. They make two messages. The crude message is Eastern Ghouta is ruled by terrorist al-Qaeda. The slightly more sophisticated message is the area is run by Islamic extremists who are not much different than al-Qaeda or ISIS. So I ask you, what force or forces are in charge of Eastern Ghouta?
Well, it seems that the Russian, Putin administration, I have great respect for the Russian people and for all the people around the world. However, the Putin administration insists on making all kinds of lies about the Syrian situation. They say there is al-Qaeda in here. Let me tell you something. The Free Syrian Army in Eastern Ghouta is the first ever who fought al-Qaeda in Syria, even before the alliance, which is led by the US, even before ISIS was named ISIS. The first group who ever fought al-Qaeda in Syria is the Free Syrian Army in Eastern Ghouta. And they are the people of Eastern Ghouta. They are not coming from somewhere in here or somewhere from there. They are the people of Eastern Ghouta, and they are trying to defend their land. Yes, it's true that some of them are Islamists, and I blame the civilized nations for that. You know, we have the majority of people in here are moderates. More than 95% of people in here are moderate. However, the Western world, the UN, keep failing us as moderates. So we are going weaker and weaker. And unless we do something now, the Holocaust is going on. And unless we do something now, nobody will ever listen to us as moderate, and the radicals will take control of things in here. And this is not something that we would like to see. We would like to see the moderate people taking control, people like me and people like you, people like our friends, who can understand the human values of freedom, of democracy, of a human being rights to live wherever they want to be, to afford something to eat for their children. This is the values that we all agree on, and somebody has to back us for that. If not, then we all as a human being has been failed.
I was watching your appearance on TRT World, which I guess is Turkish TV, and then the next video on YouTube that appeared was from the Russian RT station. Now, it claimed that there were humanitarian corridors that had been set up near the al-Wafadin camp, but, quote, al-Nusra terrorists, unquote, shelled it. So what do you say about this claim about the humanitarian corridors?
Well, as I told you, Russians managed to combine maybe 3 lies within one line. You know, that line has many lies. First of all, there is no al-Nusra in Eastern Ghouta. There are 200 men, less than 200 men in Eastern Ghouta that are affiliated with Nusra, and these people are caged. These people are targeted, and right now the Free Syrian Army offered that they are able to exile these 200 people from Eastern Ghouta. However, the Russians did not allow that because they want them to be an excuse to keep bombing and keep shelling Eastern Ghouta. This is the first lie. The second lie, nobody prevented anybody from going out of Eastern Ghouta. The first few days, nobody ever wanted to go because we know the regime. Let me right now remind you of something. Do you know that a number between 250,000 people and 500,000 people are detained in Assad prisons? They are called slaughterhouses. I will, as a civilian, I would never surrender to Assad. He will take me to he will take these 400,000 people of Eastern Ghouta into Saydnaya, the big slaughterhouse that Assad run, the big slaughterhouse that Assad kill people in every single day. I will never surrender to Assad to be taken to Saydnaya, neither any civilian in here. The last couple of days, 500 people under the heavy shelling, under the worst condition of starvation, were convinced to leave Eastern Ghouta, and they left Eastern Ghouta. Nobody blocked them, nobody prevented them from leaving Eastern Ghouta. Right now they are detained in Muhayyam al-Wafidin. They are not allowed to go to Damascus. They are detained in 2 schools in Muhayyam al-Wafidin. Their people, their relatives cannot reach them, and we know nothing about them since they have gone. Civilians in here, they are afraid of getting bombed. They are afraid of starved to death. But we are more afraid of being detained and tortured in the Assad slaughterhouses more than being afraid of dying of starvation or shelling.
Was that a bombardment, that noise?
Yeah. Now it is very calm. If you called maybe 1 hour ago, there were maybe 3 or 4 bombardments each minute. It's a nightmare. You can check Yahoo, you can check YouTube for videos of Eastern Ghouta. You can see that the night of Eastern Ghouta is turned into day, not because of the sunshine, because of the bombardment, because of the heavy shelling, because of all of the noise that happened at night.
Well, I want to thank you so much for this interview and wish you good luck. And we will speak again.
Thank you, Stanley. Thank you for your time. It's really a shame that very few people care about what's happening in Eastern Ghouta. I see attention is drawn into this matter more and more. I hope free people all around the world will care enough to do something and will care enough to make a noise. Thank you again, Stanley, and thank you for all the people that are watching us.